There we are. And I'm going to make Mr. Nickerson, Chef Nickerson, a moderator. All right, we have the recording started, so thank you. So now at this time, I ask that everyone please mute their mics for the best sound experience. Otherwise, we'll get some feedback that could interfere with the information we'll be sharing with you today. So without further ado, here is EPCC Culinary Arts. Chef Nickerson, Chef Guerra, it's ready for you.
Okay, I want to make sure everybody can see the kitchen area because I'm not showing the thing underneath here.
Yes, sir. I see some
mixers, pots, pans, all that fun stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic.
And,
well, I'm kind of
before you.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Before you continue, guys, in the bottom, at the top right corner, there is a circle. It has like a big rectangle with a bunch of little rectangles underneath it. If you click it, it will make his camera big so you can see the full screen better, okay? All right. Sorry, Mr. Chef Guerra, it's all yours.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with Chef Dominguez, and she's going to start off with our healthy cookie that we're going to make for today. Chef, you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing today?
Sure. So we are presenting to you guys a healthy cookie. It's an oatmeal banana cookie that doesn't have any flour, so it's flourless, and doesn't have any eggs. So it's a really good alternative for when you have also overripe bananas or brown bananas. Typically, you would go and, especially in this quarantine, everybody learned how to do banana bread. Problem is, it has some fat to it, and it is wheat flour. So this is another good alternative to use those overripe brown bananas that we have. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start. This recipe, this is a very basic recipe. We have 3 bananas, each 3 cups of oatmeal, a cup of dry fruit, half a cup of nuts, and then we also have some vanilla extract, cinnamon, and salt. Now this recipe is very versatile, so you can actually change the dry fruit that you add, the nuts that you add, and the spices that you add. And I'll talk about it a little bit as I do it. So the first step would be to peel your banana. And again, well, these aren't that ripe, well, kind of, but you can use overripe bananas or the ones that are getting really brown and that are kind of not so good to eat like that because they're kind of mushy. They'll be perfect. And actually, if you use them like that, you'll get a sweeter taste out of the banana. So that'll be even better. The other cool thing about this cookie is that you don't need a mixer, you don't need very large equipment. This is all things that you're gonna have at home. So you just peel the bananas, and I'm gonna start to smash them. I'm using a fork. If you don't wanna take this long, of course you can put it in the mixer with a paddle attachment, and then just turn it on speed 1 or stir. They'll be good too. They're gonna do basically the same that I'm doing. I just wanted to do it this way because not everybody has a mixer at home. I wouldn't do it with an immersion blender because then you're going to create a very liquid puree, and it might affect the final consistency of the cookies. So smashing them or putting them through the mixer with a paddle attachment would be better off.
So right? While you're doing that, Chef, I'm going to take a little minute to brag about Chef Dominguez. If you all haven't recognized her yet, she's been in the news and in the newspapers and everything, but I'll let her share a little bit about her experiences that she had about a year ago before we went into the pandemic and her show on Netflix.
You can watch me on Netflix, Sugar Rush, Christmas Edition, Episode 2. Christmas Edition, Season 2, Episode 2. So I was smashing the bananas. And another cool thing about this recipe is the kids can do it because there's no knives involved here. Maybe you just need to help them to put them in the oven, but this is a very cool recipe for the kiddos too. I know we still have a lot of time with them in the house. All right, so that's basically that. I'm going to switch my glove. Next step, we're going to add our vanilla extract, our salt, our cinnamon, which is also really good for controlling your appetite. Again, at this point, if you want it, you could add honey, you could add agave nectar, you could, if you really want them a little bit sweeter, you could add a little bit of muscovado sugar, brown sugar. That's why this cookie is so versatile. I'm trying to avoid adding any other sweetener to make them a little bit healthier. So basically the sweetness that we're gonna have within the cookies, it's gonna come from the sugar within the dry fruit. All right, at this point, we're gonna add the oatmeal. And basically you can up or down this recipe. You can make more, you can make less. Basically, all that you need to remember is that for every banana, you're gonna use a cup of oatmeal. We're gonna mix this up just until it's well combined, and then we're gonna let it sit for just like a minute or two, and that's just for the oatmeal to soak up the moisture from the bananas, and that way the once you bake them, the oatmeal is not just like crunchy and hard. Just mix it up, and as I said, we're gonna let it sit for just a little bit. And while we do that, in this case, I am gonna add raisins and chopped walnuts. But again, you can add. I really like it with dates because it brings a really good, a really nice sweetness to the cookies. But you can add cranberries, dried pineapple. Figs are really good too. For the nuts, I like it with pistachios. It can get a little bit expensive, but just any kind of nut that you have lying around your home. Almonds do really good. And also any other inclusions. I mean, we're trying to make this healthy, but you can also add chocolate chips to this. So at that point, when I add this, you would add any other inclusion that you would want to. All right, so just let it sit. Then we're gonna add, in this case, raisins and walnuts. But again, you can add any other type of dry fruit and any other type of nut. It's really cool to add peanuts and chocolate chips. That's a combo that the kids really like: chocolate, peanut butter, and banana. So just an idea. And it's so quick to make that again, you can throw it together really fast. These are really, really good snacks. Also breakfast for when you're in the run, you don't really get a lot of time to get your breakfast in. Just take some of these cookies, eat them while you in your morning commute, or have them lying around your desk as a healthy snack. So now we're just gonna scoop them. I am using a scoop. Of course, if you don't have a scoop like this around home, you can just use your hands to create patties. I'll actually, let me just do that in case you don't have a scoop at home. And basically what we're trying to do, we're gonna try to create patties that are about 2.5 inches, 3 inches of diameter, and about 1/2 inch of thickness. You don't want them too big or too fat. We are gonna flatten them down because otherwise they're gonna be a little bit too soft in the middle. So one thing though, you do want them to be kind of as close as you can get them to the same size. That way they bake evenly.
You're getting a lot of positive feedback, Jeff. I can't keep up. They enjoy the tips and great ideas.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna let Chef Dominguez set that up, and she's gonna pop those into the oven, and we're gonna change gears. So you gotta have something savory, right, before you have your dessert. So we're gonna make a nice, healthy gazpacho soup over here with Chef Diaz. I'm gonna have Chef Diaz talk to you a little bit about what we're doing first, and then we'll get into the ingredients and the items.
Hello everyone, Chef Diaz, EPCC Culinary instructor. Thank you all for tuning in. What we're going to do for you today is gazpacho, one of my favorite dishes, especially with summertime coming up. When it's hot outside and you guys don't want to really worry about making something, using a lot of heat in the kitchen, want to keep your house cool, this is one dish. All you need is a blender. Okay. A little bit about gazpacho. It did originate in the Andalusian region of southern Spain. Popular dish over there, but also Portugal. Okay, history, a lot of history facts about it. One thing that I heard is that it was actually served to peasants back in the day. Not sure how it was made. In fact, that you would serve it to peasants, but many different recipes. There's not one set recipe. Just to let you guys know, you guys have a recipe of what we're doing here. Well, as a chef, we switch our minds every once in a while. Okay, just to let y'all know. What I went ahead and incorporated for you guys, if you want to take a gander down here, we have some fresh cucumbers, and of course you want to keep it fresh. One big question that's always asked is, can we use canned tomatoes? Personally, I'm going to say no. They have San Marzano, which is a product of Italy. Beautiful, beautiful canned tomato that I love to use for when I make fresh pizzas at home, even a basic marinara sauce for fresh pasta. But what we did for you guys, with the help of the students, we went ahead and concassate tomato, which I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real quick. A concassate tomato, you get your fresh Roma tomato. They are sweeter. My preference, you can get what they call a 6x6 or 5x6. It's just your thicker tomato. They call it 6x6 because in a box, in a case, they have a row of 6 and a 6x6. So you can tell, and I let you know basically the size. So my preference is Roma tomatoes, especially because I love anything Italian. What you want to do, if you have a tomato shark, okay, which is basically an instrument you can use to take this out. It's a circular device, has teeth. If you can't find one, get yourself a paring knife. Obviously, don't use a chef knife, but that's what I'm going to be using today for my demos. Get rid of your scraps. Go ahead and you want to make an X. You want to score it. Have your water. Have everything ready for you. Okay, guys, we're going to move over here. So what we have here is your water. It's already boiling, okay? And you want it to be ready for you. You don't want to be waiting for it. So now I got my tomato going. What you're going to do is you're going to set it in there for roughly about 30 seconds. But just to speed up the process, I'm going to leave it in here for about 10 seconds. Hopefully it'll loosen up the skin. So that's what the concassate is. You're wanting to remove the skin, which you can do with a food mill, which I know most family members do not have. Okay, so that's why we're using a blender for the gazpacho. Again, you can use a food mill to make the gazpacho. And also, if you want to make a... Oh. Let me go ahead and take out the tomato. Okay, what we're going to do is set it. We're going to set it into an ice bath. Again, everything is ready for me, okay?
What do we call that, chef, when everything's ready for you?
Mise en place.
All right.
Okay, what we're going to do, after you let it sit here for a while, you want it to cool down. Remember, the tomato is still going to continue to cook, okay? You want to go ahead and you can see it. If we were to have left it for the 30 seconds to 40 seconds, it's going to start to peel. And you guys can see I'm doing it without the knife, okay? So I'm going to leave this here because we don't need this. I already have my mise en place ready to go, okay? But that's concassate the tomatoes. You can take off the inside juice. All you want to keep is the meat. All right, let's move over. All right, guys. So we have our concassate tomatoes. We have our tomato juice. We have our stale bread, jalapenos, which is one of the dishes you don't really see in gazpachos. Okay, fresh cucumbers. We have our purple tomato, purple onions, and this is what I switched up on the recipe. I went ahead and roasted.
We have a question, chef.
Yes.
What happens if you leave the skin on the tomato?
It makes for better eating. It makes a better product in the end when you remove the skin itself. If you're making a bruschetta, if you're doing just a tomato chutney, it just helps to remove all the skin. Just makes a better product so you can eat the flesh itself. And you will notice the difference, I guarantee you. Okay?
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Keep going with the questions.
Okay. So bell pepper, I went ahead and roasted it. Okay, like I said, not every recipe is the same. So you can roast it in the oven. You can roast it on the stove, high temperature. Cover it when it's done. You want to get at least like 90% of it colored. You want to get a good char of it. Okay. Cover it. Let it steam. and then you'll be able to peel. You'll be able to remove all of that, all of the skin, all the burnt sharpness, and what you have is just a roasted product.
And you leave out the bell pepper. It is a very strong flavor.
Of course, yes, guys. I'm telling you, you can add almost any ingredient that you want. If you want to use a root vegetable, my preference would be to go ahead and, I would say, you know, set it in poaching water just to soften it up a little bit, and then cool it down with an ice bath. Ice bath. Because remember, this is a cold dish. Okay, but you can add a red bell pepper. You can add more color to it if you want. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add everything here with my sherry, my garlic, my olive oil, my fresh basil. One of the dishes that I love to add. I know it sounds weird, jalapeno and basil. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, try it. Okay, I guarantee you will notice a fresh, delicious taste that you're not used to. All right, let's go ahead and because I'm getting hungry. Let's go ahead and get our cucumbers. You'll be amazed at how easy this is. Let's get our tomatoes. We need liquid. And in cooking, guys, we know that water does not have any flavor. It might have nutrients, but I prefer flavor over nutrients when I'm hungry, okay?
Are the cucumbers de-seeded?
No, they're not. They have a lot of juice, a lot of liquid. We have our bread in here, guys. A different way you can approach this. If it's really hard, I mean, like more than day-old bread, all I'm saying is that it's really hard, not soft. You can soften it in a little bit of liquid if you want, okay, and then pour it in. It's all going to be liquefied. Let me add my roasted bell peppers, onions. To me, guys, this is the ingredient, one of the ingredients that makes this dish. If you've ever had, of course, I love cheeseburgers. You know, raw onion is just something I need incorporated, but I can't eat it raw by itself. Sherry vinegar, you can also use red wine vinegar. I'm a huge fan of sherry. Olive oil. Now this one here, guys, the more you add, the lighter the color is going to be. Okay? So if you want a really light color, go ahead and add more olive oil. You don't want to add too much. Fresh basil. All right, we got our jalapenos. Took the seeds out. I don't want to make it spicy. All right. Now, one thing over here, guys, that I do want to show you that you do not have to do, but it's just something that I love showing everybody. Okay? Is pasting garlic. Okay? I always get into an argument with my wife because she wants to buy minced garlic. I'm not a fan of minced garlic. I'd rather do it myself. Take off the end, the back of the knife, sharpen on the right side. Give it a little mash. There you go. Incorporate a little bit of salt. That's going to help to draw a lot of moisture. Okay. You can give it a good chop, however you want, just to start us the process. From here, place your knife flat on the cutting board, my fingers like so. I'm going to pick it up with a small degree. All I'm going to do is just press it against.
There's a comment, Chef. Fighting over garlic, I understand.
They're fighting over garlic.
They understand
Wow.
the pain of fighting over garlic, yes.
Yes. Guys, you will notice the difference. I will make the believer out of you. This is super easy to do. Instead of spending, like I tell the students, don't spend so much time doing this, okay? Because some people mind leaving a chunk of garlic. I don't like chunks. Even, you know. All I'm doing is the same thing. Keeping my knife flat, bringing it in. This is all I'm doing. And if you guys can see it, there's still a little bit of chunks there, which is fine. I'm going to throw it in to speed up the process. But I can continue this. I can put more salt. But in the end, I end up with a paste that just melts inside of your tomato sauce, if that's what you're making.
All right. The participants are learning, Chef. They said they've never seen anybody smash garlic with a knife.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Awesome. So practice at home. Get a 5-pound jar and. All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. our blender, if you're working with hot ingredients, first of all, this is just a tip. You always say you want to start off with a little bit. So if you have a little bit, if you have hot liquid, which is this is not hot, you want to start off a little bit. Do not fill it up, and do not set it all the way up high. Remember, if it's hot, this is cold liquid, so we don't have anything to worry about. All that pressure, if it was hot, could possibly escape through here, which I've seen before, and I know Chef Yelta has seen that. Places where we worked at, it splatters all over the place. People get burned, you lose products, that's money down the drain, okay? Here we go, it's gonna get loud. Make sure you have your towels ready to wipe up any tools because it's gonna look delicious.
So we had a question of, so do you need the tomatoes to be cold?
Yes, everything needs to be cold. Do your mise en place, have everything ready, don't even bring this bad boy. The blender can stay put away for now, okay? Do your mise en place, put it back in the fridge, okay? If you're wanting to consume this right now, some people go ahead and put ice cubes in there, not a problem. Again, that's adding unnecessary liquid, okay, that has no flavor. So do this ahead, the day before, do it during breakfast, have it ready for dinner, just let it sit in the fridge. What you want to do, the number one thing is let the flavors marinate. Okay, you can chug it right now if you want, and I would recommend doing that if you make it yourself. Try it, let it sit overnight, try it the next day, and I guarantee you'll notice a different flavor. Okay, so what I do here, guys, which I do not have any stragglers, you want to stop it, get your rubber spatula, push anything down that's hanging up on the sides. If you do not have, you want to go roughly about, I'd say about a minute and a half on this. Oh, God. Even though I have a mask on, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could smell this right now. If my boss wasn't here, I'd probably stick my face in there and it was, it's fresh vegetables. If you guys want to hear something funny, that was mentioned by one of my family members. If you think about it for a second, they're like, all you made was expensive salsa. So I kind of looked at them and said, well, that's the last time I ever cooked for you, because it's a gazpacho. It's not an expensive salsa. But if you think about it, you know, it kind of is.
There's a suggestion in the comments, Chef, about eating gazpacho with shrimp.
Okay, yes. Guys, this is just just look at it this way. Olive oil, fresh tomatoes, and bread. That is your base. That is your canvas to do as you will. If you want to add more jalapenos, if you want to add more basil, if you want to put spinach, guys, by all means, go ahead. Okay. If you want to accompany it with some poached shrimp, especially in a presentation like this, that will definitely work. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. You're not talking about putting shrimp in there.
That's right.
Okay. Just checking. All right, guys. Here we go. Oh, wait. We got to add some seasoning first. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I did skip breakfast. So, or one of those works, please. Thank you. Go ahead and put it back on. Turn it on, get it mixed up. All right. So if you guys did notice that nothing, I didn't talk about anything having salt. Obviously vegetables do not contain salt. The tomatoes, some stuff might have a little bit of sweetness going on. So I'm not adding anything else. No sugar, no salt, no pepper, no nothing until this point. Now that we have that, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Because you always want to taste your food before you serve it.
Especially if you missed breakfast, right, Chef?
Oh yes. Right away, I get fresh tomato, I get basil, and then I do get tomatoes lingering in the background. Wow, very delicious. But you guys can see the color, like I told you. If you look online, you will see different colors. It'll be red, it could be darker. This is, like I said, has a lot to do because I roasted the bell pepper. I put more olive oil. Wow.
We got a question about which is the best blender.
Best blender. Wow. I wouldn't say go for the cheapest one.
I love the Vitamix. We're using a Vitamix blender here, and these have been around in our facility since 2009. So you can imagine the life that we're getting out of those blenders. So I'm very happy with Vitamix.
Yes, definitely check online. A lot of websites you can go to. I know that Bed Bath & Beyond, I like to go, my preference, especially for work, I like to go to webstrants.com. So it's like restaurants, but with web in the front. So webstrant.com. I would say get together, make it a group purchase because they do charge you. If you're going for one thing, no, make it a group purchase because the shipping and handling is pretty expensive. And I do not work for them, FYI. It's just a great website. All right, great questions, guys. Thank you so much. Chef Dominguez over here is like, why didn't they ask me any questions?
She's working.
Yeah. All right, guys. So for presentations, especially for 1309 restaurant here, which we do have curbside dinners on Thursdays. If we were presenting this table side, we would have our glass with ice that has been crushed. We have our serving dish right here. Okay, you do it to them like this. You would pour it a little bit halfway. Okay, I do have my garnish, which is Brunoise cuts. You guys can see how small they are. It's a Brunoise cut, so that is an 1/8 by 1 inch all around. That's pretty small, guys.
We're going to get that website typed into the comment section here shortly by Chef Nickerson, so you all can know what the website is that we're talking about. Also, on the variations and the colors, we do one here at the college also with our American regional cuisine students, and they do with golden tomatoes when we have them, when they're available. And so that's more of a Floridian or Florida cuisine type of gazpacho. Obviously, there's a lot of Spanish influence when you look into the Caribbean area. And so they take a little bit of everything, all the good from all the different cultures. And this is one of the deviations that they've come up with. So it's very nice.
One last thing I wanted to mention, guys, is that if you want to strain this, by all means, go ahead. Okay, you can get yourself a China cap, different strainers out there. Get one that has a fine mesh. Okay, but if you don't have any strainers at your house, I would recommend getting different mesh sizes. Okay, what I'm talking about is just basically the hole. Okay, the finer they go, the smaller the hole. Okay, so for something like this, I would use a fine mesh strainer. Okay, if you want. I kind of like it already. I don't want to get rid of anything, but you guys can see all the extra that was there. Okay, so here we go. There's your China cap. Got a fine mesh. You can put that in there. You can push all your liquid through. Okay, and it's gonna get all that, all the bits that you don't want because you want it to be smoother. But again, I'm super happy with this as is. Okay.
So we had a question about how was life in the kitchen during COVID.
Oh, how was life in the kitchen at my house or here? Because my wife has me cooking a lot more since we were doing everything remotely. Honestly, guys, it's been a struggle, but I could not, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I could not be happier with my coworkers and the students. Everybody's pulling their weight. This is new to all of us. Okay, it's a struggle, but we're doing what we need to do. We're doing great things, sticking to the protocols. Everybody's wearing a mask. Nobody's being resistant on wearing them. Everybody's washing their hands. Classes are being spread out for sticking. It's been a struggle, but we're making it happen. Any other questions?
Yes,
Guys?
another question was, when do curbside dinners resume?
Next week. If you guys want to go ahead and email if you have questions or you want the menu sent to you, it is 1309 spelled out. So it's 13THIRTEEN and then 09, not 0 but 09. They're gonna go ahead and put it for you guys. They're gonna type it up, and it'll be at epcc.edu. Chef Lugo's in charge of that. It's only Thursdays. Pickup time is from 5 to 6, but he will give you all that information, guys.
And this semester, we're going to make the pickup time 4:30 to 5:30, so you all have enough time when you get out of work to get here. Yeah, we're going to change it up this semester. But yes, you can try all the different things that Chef Lugo makes as well. I know this would be more fun if we were out and you guys got a taste of the gazpacho and the cookies. We miss doing those events as well, or hosting them here at our facility and showing off all the kitchens that we have. We do have 8 kitchens that we operate. All right. Going on for today, and again, you can change it up. I saw another comment, but it came right off, so I don't know if there was a question in there. But yes, we definitely miss having people around here, and we're gonna go back to Chef Dominguez for her cookies.
So while Chef Diaz was demonstrating how to make a wonderful gazpacho, these cookies were in the oven. They went in there at 350 Fahrenheit. For 13 minutes. One thing that I always do is that I part my time in half, and I do rotate the pan. A lot of the time, especially the ovens that we have at home that are not super extremely great or not professional grade like this, and even these ones, they will give more color or brown more at the part that it's to the end of the oven. So you do want to rotate the pan midway through the baking. That way you have an even color, right? So this one's baked for, again, 13 minutes at 350. And as long as you can separate it from the paper, you are good. Now you can make them a little bit browner or leave them a little bit longer in the oven. That's going to give you a crunchier cookie in the top. But the middle part, it's always going to be soft. Now, the only thing you want to look for is
Parchment paper or wax paper? Sorry to interrupt.
So you can use either parchment paper, wax paper, or if you do have a silicone mat, a silk mat, that will work perfectly too. The cool part about this is they're not gonna spread because there's no baking powder, no baking soda, no flour, no eggs, so they're not gonna spread. So as I was scooping them, I did press them down. They didn't just fall on their own. I did press them down, and they're not gonna spread. So you can put them just close enough like this. But either the wax paper, parchment, or the silicone mat will work. All right. The only thing you do want to look for if you are leaving them longer in the oven is not to burn the dry fruit. All right, because this dry fruit was getting a little bit of color, so that's when I decided to pull them out.
So we got a question of why, and I think asking why do we put parchment paper, silicone mat, or wax paper underneath?
So they don't.
If I'm not, please correct me, okay?
We just want paper so they don't stick to the sheet pan. You can probably spray them with spray pen. This is what I'm talking when I'm saying a silicone mat or a silk mat, as they're commonly known.
Why is parchment paper better?
Well, typically the wax paper has the tendency to get food stuck to it. You can potentially also spray the sheet pan or whatever you use to bake them on. But the thing is, we're trying to make it healthy, so spraying them or rubbing the sheet pan with butter is inevitably going to add a little bit of fat in there. When you're talking about this cookies, though, if it's regular cookies, the ones that have butter, flour, sugar, salt, if the spread of the cookie, it's going to depend on what you're baking them on. If you're baking them on parchment, wax, or a silk mat, it is going to make a difference. Or if you scale, well, that's other type of cookie. These ones actually don't spread, so you could potentially just do it without paper, a silk mat. It's just that in order for them not to stick to it, you would have to add some type of fat, either shortening or butter or pan spray.
Good questions. Do we have any other questions?
Another thing right away, that's completely fine. That's typically what I do. But do let them cool down before you pack them up, because there's a lot of moisture in these cookies, and if you just pack them up while they're hot, they're going to become very soggy. Now for storage, I would also recommend using a, here you go, using an airtight container, or just put them in Ziploc bags. That way they stay fresher. These ones, because they are basically bananas and oatmeal, if storing properly, they are going to get a little bit soggy, which I personally don't like. So I do put them in an airtight container or a Ziploc bag. You can also, this is a very cool trick. You can also, especially if you have a lot of bananas that you need to use, you can also scoop and make the patties, and instead of baking them, you can also freeze them and just bake them as you want them to eat. That way you are eating basically freshly baked cookies whenever you want to.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef. So really quickly, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other programs that we have going on here at the college, and I'm going to let Chef Dominguez talk about the pastry program work. She's obviously our pastry star, so I'll let her do that. But what we want to talk about also is the restaurant management. A lot of people don't know that we offer restaurant management degrees. So restaurant management, we have a lot of different classes that deal with handling with the customers, as well as the big trends that you see. So you might go to a really nice restaurant and find a whole bunch of menus on the table, right? Well, what the hell are all those menus? That might be, there might be your regular food menu, a bar menu, a wine list, a drink list. So we teach our students about beverage management, how to make all sorts of different types of drinks. We teach them how to food and wine pair. The viticulture and enology is all about growing grapes and making wine, so that they understand how to interact with the guests, answer questions, provide them with feedback, maybe suggest the wine or suggest the beverage to go along with their food. So that's what our restaurant management really does. You're going to talk a little bit more about American Regional on our culinary side. So once our students finish their basics classes, we put them into the American Regional and International Cuisine classes to reaffirm their basics and also introduce them to the different ingredients and recipes from the different areas within the country and then within the world. Then from there, our students move into making sauces, working in the restaurant, cold kitchens, so they make their own bacon, their own sausages, all sorts of stuff that you would make in a cold kitchen, which we call garde manger. And then from there, they move on to their more advanced classes, where they're working in the restaurant again, working out in the industry. Right now, we have our practicum students, which are back in the back hiding from the camera, that they're getting their hours in with us, as well as out in the industry. So they go out for 105 hours and work under another chef or another business or restaurant. We learn a little bit more about the pace and the actual rigors of the job, so that they can get that hands-on experience. So those two programs are very different. We have two different paths within those two, and then Chef Dominguez can tell you a little bit more about the pastry program.
So when speaking about the pastry program, well, of course, the culinary and the management, they all have, you do have to pass through pastry. You're going to have the basics of baking, but then when you jump into the pastry program, you're going to have a little bit more advanced classes. Our school and our teaching, it is based on French cuisine, French style cuisine. So we do jump onto a lot of types of French pastries. We do have a class that is laminated doughs, and that's more about forward to making croissants, Danish dough, and specialty pastries. We do have one that is called cookies, tea cakes, pies, and tarts. Very obviously, the name calls for it, and it's just cookies, not just French style, but from around the globe. But of course, it wouldn't be a local program if we don't add a local element to it. So our intent is for our students to be employed, right? So what is the most common bakery we have around El Paso? Mexican bakeries. So of course we do offer a course on Mexican bread and pastries, which is my personal favorite. I am Mexican, so I do enjoy that a lot. And then you jump into more advanced classes, just like the advanced pastry, which we work with chocolate, a lot of chocolate work, a lot of sugar sculptures, and just advanced techniques. Of course, besides just the on-hand learning that you're going to get, doing pastries, you also need to know a little bit of management. So go us. You are going to have a practicum class that is going to have to do 105 hours of work, whether with us and with other bakers or chefs that have that pastry side.
There's a question. Any tips for a baker?
Any tips for a baker? Understand that baking is a science. It's not as easy as the cooking where you can fix things that you forget. For example, I'm not trying to pinpoint, but Chef Diaz did almost forget to add the salt right there. If you forget to add the salt in a muffin, it's not like you can add it after. If you add it after and you start to mix it, you're going to change the end consistency. So you do have to add it exactly when you're supposed to add it. So a good advice for a baker is know that it's more of a discipline. You have to be more precise and dedicate a lot more to the visuals and how things come out. And this is for bakers or cooks. Read the recipe, read the instructions, understand it before you go and jump on doing things. Because if you're trying to do it as you're reading it, you're gonna be like, oh, I was supposed to do this before, and now it's not like it's supposed to.
All right, so we had a couple of other questions, Chef. I'm going to answer the question about the knife skills class. We do not offer just a knife skills class, but in our basics class, that's really the big push, is we want to make sure that our students understand knife skills, cutting vegetables, and the importance of that. This time we didn't cook anything, but if we were to cook those vegetables, we want to make sure that they're even, because then they don't cook evenly. And if you overcook a certain amount of your vegetables, that actually presents a bitter flavor into your final dish. So it's very important to understand knife skills, chicken fabrication. Those are the things that we push on that basics class. The other question was, how does it feel to be a celebrity?
How does it feel to be a celebrity? The answer is I'm not. I'm a chef. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I happen to have an awesome opportunity to go to film for Netflix. And honestly, I just did what I like. I'm gonna share a secret. I didn't even think I was gonna get that far. I was there to enjoy it and learn. So the fact that I did, it's just good luck, I guess. No, I mean, very obviously, there's a background to what I did, right? I wouldn't probably be able to do that if I didn't have my basis right. And how did I get my basis? Well, I came to school.
All right. And then there was a question also about doing events with children, parents and children. We do a lot of events like that, actually. We have a partnership with El Paso Independent School District where they bring in some of their students and the parents come in and we do a class just like we kind of did right now. And it's all hands-on. So the students and the parents are all working together. We give them a copy of their recipe. They work on everything. I go around and check on everything, make sure that everything's going the way it's supposed to do, and nobody burns themselves or nobody cuts themselves. And we put everything into the oven, cook it, taste it. Usually we give them some fruit punch or something, lemonade, and we kind of go over what we liked or disliked about it and have some fun. Do we have any other questions? I know we're running close to time. We've got about 5 minutes left.
Our parents. Sorry. Okay, just skipped.
It goes away quickly.
Yeah.
What's the question? Of course, yes. So we do classes also for adults. We did a partnership with El Paso Electric and did some wellness classes. Right now, Chef Dominguez actually started a class the week before we went on spring break with some folks that are, I guess, like psychiatrics. So you're feeling down, you call a phone number, and they answer and they help you out. But they do a 30-minute wellness break throughout the course of their day. So last time we did the granola bars and the what? Trail mix, yes, like we did the last time in this one. And then next week we're going to do chicken chardonnay with them so that they can see another cooking method.
More about the events.
More about the events. You got to check out the alerts. We post it online a lot too. The Facebook, EPCC Facebook account. You'll see them post our restaurant dates and times. There are also some continuing ed classes that are coming out. So if you're interested in learning, I think we have a grilling and barbecuing class for next month that will be here. We will actually host it here in our facility with one of our graduates teaching that. And we also have some other classes going on at 5 with another one of our graduates teaching that. So there's lots of opportunities for the public to come in and take classes with us as well. I think they're very reasonably priced. Anything else? Anyone else?
We want to borrow kids.
No, you don't need to borrow kids. You can come in by yourself. We'll show you.
Should they check Facebook regularly for us?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, all the stuff that we do is usually posted through our marketing department on Facebook. I also do have a Facebook account that is completely dedicated to my EPCC events and everything that's going on. So go and look me up. It's Daniel Guerra, CEC, and that stands for Certified Executive Chef. And you can find all of our events on there. And we'll keep it rolling as I finish my MBA. Right? Any other questions?
Will we see? Oh, wow, okay.
More cooking shows. Yes, we actually do have another one scheduled. I believe it's in May or at the end of April. Yes, April 16th, somewhere around there. I know we have another one scheduled. It's on the calendar, but you can also find us on YouTube under Chef's Share on the EPCC TV channel. We do have lots of videos on there. Chef Dominguez does a great video on chocolates. Roster does a lot of the other videos. I actually have a tour of the entire facility on there that I walk through and show you the different kitchens. So a bunch of stuff and more videos are to come. All right, anything else? I think that kind of takes us to time. So if there are no other questions, I do appreciate the opportunity. I'd like to thank the chefs and the students. Thank you guys. You did a great job. It was fantastic. Hope you all have questions.
If there's no more questions, I can go ahead and take us out. Let me go ahead and I'll share about Tejano passports real quick for this session. After this session, we're going to have distance learning tell us about learning online in Blackboard, so you definitely want to stay tuned. Let me go ahead and give you the Tejano passport code for today's for Chef Nickerson's and EPCC Culinary Arts session. Give me just a moment. All right. So up there is the flyer. I think we're having a little technical difficulty. There we go. Alrighty. So everybody, why don't we give a quick round of applause into the chat for our wonderful presenters today of EPCC Culinary Arts. You all did a truly fantastic job, and I enjoyed every minute of it. We do have to wrap up soon here because we have our next presenter in the room, and it's going to be awesome for distance learning. So the Tejano passport code is in the chat. I would like to thank everyone for coming, and stay tuned for our next session, all right?